Hello, everyone, and welcome to Leading Our Adventures, your BSA Venturing podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Todd, and I currently serve as the National Venturing Officers Association VP of Program. And I'm joined today by my guest, Jacob Schmidt.
Hey there, everyone. It's great to be on the show, and we cannot wait to get to know everyone through this new project that we have. So my name is Jacob Schmidt. I am your National Vice President of Communications for the National Venturing Officers Association. And we're super excited to learn about you, and you're going to get to learn about us today and who we are and how venturing has shaped both of us. So whether you're a venturer, a leader, or a scout, just trying to get looking for something new to do, we hope to share more about venturing in our wonderful program with you. So, Hannah, do you want to share a little bit about what venturing is for people and when and how you got involved in the program?
Sure, I would love to. So, Venturing is a co ed program that is geared towards 14 to 21-year-olds, and we focus on the ALPS method, which we'll get to later as we continue on this show. ALPS stands for Adventure, Leadership, Personal Growth, and Service. And I was first introduced to venturing and to scouting in general through watching one of my male friends and being envious of his adventures that he got to do and things that he learned in the Scouts BSA Boy Scouts program and the Cub Scouting program. I guess when I was envious the first time, yeah, he was a Cub Scout. I learned from his mother about the rank system and the pinnacle of the program, the Scouts BSA program, from his mother, Eagle rank. I asked if I could do that and if I could get Eagle eventually. And at the time, she said that I would not be able to do that. But when I got to be 14, I could join a venturing and attain something similar, Summit. Well, little Hannah was devastated, so disappointed that I couldn't work towards Eagle, but I became excited about the prospect of Summit and the adventures I could go through through the venturing program, through scouting when I got old enough. Although to a 10-year-old, 4 years away is a long time. That's a long time to wait. That's like half a century or even longer, very long. But unlike many girls who've gotten into scouting, I did not have an older brother, but instead I have a younger brother who got me into scouting even before I started the venturing program. He went to his first day camp and came back filthy. Jacob, when I'm saying filthy, like so much dirt. And I had to clean up the car afterward. Like there was so much dirt. Where did it come from? He was bringing the scout camp to our house. But he also told me all the amazing things that he got to do. And the next year, I volunteered for day camp and I was assigned to be a den chief. And after that, I was hooked ever since. Well, I did have a few rough spots here and there, but we can talk about that later. I was soon old enough to join venturing and enjoyed all of the leadership development that venturing could offer, the venturing basics, the trainings. But what about you, Jacob?
Yeah. So for me, I started out in Cub Scouts in first grade, and I was super active and super involved, and I loved it. One of my favorite activities as a Cub Scout was building the little model rockets on Rocket Weekend. Loved those when we would do those. But what my favorite, as I started going and getting into camping and stuff, and would go along with my troop once I crossed over, I started to get really bored once I reached about 13 years old. And I was prepping to go on a big trip to Glacier National Park, where we went backpacking in joint with the venturing crew that I'm in now. And so I found out along that trip, like what the venturing program was about, their rank system, and how it's all 14 to 21. So it's people who are a lot closer to my age range, and the people who were in that crew were, within a couple of years of my age. And my trip didn't really have that for me. So I was really excited to have people who were close to my age again, who were super interested in going on adventures and all of the fun stuff. Well, with a little bit of the scouting too, but there was a lot of emphasis on the fun, it seemed like. And so that really helped push me through the edge, and it helped keep me going, to keep going in scouting too. And that's ultimately what helped me finish out my Eagle and earn my Eagle in 2019. And then, continue on and explore other opportunities in scouting and in venturing, eventually moving all the way up to the NVOA and getting to meet people from all across the nation, like yourself. And it's been wonderful. I really owe so much to the venturing program, because it has been such a wonderful gift, to meet so many people and learn so many skills through our program. And a big part of that has been our ALPS model, as you had mentioned, of the adventure, leadership, personal growth, and service. And, really, that's a perfect way to kind of all encompass, wrap up everything that we do. And, if I would say it'd be great if we could talk about that.
I would love to. Of course. Adventure has, for me, quite a few different forms. It's been there, it's been here, it's been everywhere. Whether it be high adventure bases or zipping through the trees with my crew. Do you have any adventure experiences that come to mind?
Well, yeah. So as I was saying, I was prepping to go on that big Glacier National Park trip, and we went backpacking in the backcountry for, I think, 6 days on our 10-day trip. Maybe it was only 5. Not sure. Um, it's been
Time
a
gets
few
away from
years.
you.
I know. But one of those nights that we were camping there, the campsite we were in was known to have a lot of moose that stayed nearby. And so you could see the spots in the grass where the moose would lay down at night, to sleep. And so we saw those as we were hiking in. And then the next morning, as I was walking down to go fill up the buckets with water with one of my buddies, we saw a moose just down the stream from us who came out of the woods just to get a drink from the stream, just down below us. And it was so majestic, and so wonderful. And on that same trip, we were hiking up to go see the glaciers. And along that hike up, the trail went straight through a waterfall. And so you had to walk through the waterfall along the way. And I had never experienced anything like it. And it was such an amazing adventure, to be surrounded by friends and in such a beautiful place, a place that I probably would never see without scouting, to have the opportunity to go out and explore nature and really start to learn how to plan trips like that and get out into the wilderness and see what's out there.
Wow, that sounds really cool.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite story you want to share?
Yeah, of course. I thought you'd never asked. Um, I would love to talk about my experience at Northern Tier, but it wasn't just like regular Northern Tier, which is in, there's a little tab right there. Um, where's in northern Minnesota, right?
Mhm.
It's in northern Minnesota. Awesome. Geography. Apparently today, not my strong suit. Anyways, moving on. It was winter. Winter Northern Tier is a great experience. It's called Oak Pick. Little 14-year-old Hannah was so excited. We got to sleep on the ice. So walking on the ice for the first time was very kind of scary for me. Just going on and walking on a lake that's usually like water, but knowing that there is feet and feet of ice below you. But it's still kind of scary at the first part. I remember it being the New Year's Eve, and there's not much sun that comes around in the winter. So we had gotten up, and it was sunny for probably 4 or 5 hours, and then the sun went down. We had gone dog sledding that day. We had worked on our wind shelters. It was a great day. I got a little too cold, and what you have to do when you get too cold is kind of do this penguin dance, when you take your hands and just thrust them down, and then move, because your body, when you move, that creates heat. So that was a lot of fun. And I remember laying down after a long day and kind of hearing the ice crack underneath me. But good news, when ice expands, or ice kind of cracks when it expands. So that was my crew guide. I don't remember what they're called, but they were like, that's a good thing. That means the ice is getting even bigger. But looking up and seeing all those stars and going to sleep under the stars in 3 degrees Fahrenheit was such an amazing experience. I had so much fun doing that. Now that we've gotten to talk about adventure a little bit, why don't we shift to the second letter of ALPS?
Yeah. Yeah, so the second letter of ALPS is leadership, stands for leadership. And so leadership skills are really what's the backbone of keeping our program running. And so, really, for us, we're a youth led program all the way to the national level as your National Venturing Officers Association. And all of us, we have the goal of learning leadership skills and recognizing that you're going to make mistakes along the way, but it's a way for you to learn and grow as a leader and become more confident and capable individuals. So I can really say, at least for me, that venturing has really changed the way that I lead. From my time that I've served in the council level, in the territory level, at the national level now, it's been such a great opportunity to see how things work at different levels and work with so many different people to really experience leadership in different levels. And our leadership opportunities and trainings that we take to build up those leadership skills have really put me ahead of pace. And I really owe a lot to the venturing program for that. So, can you share a little bit about some of the leadership trainings?
Of course, I would love to. So, when it comes to trainings for rank advancement, so there's 4 ranks in the venturing program, and for every rank, you have to do some kind of training. And all the trainings build upon each other. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh no, more classroom time. I go to school for that. Why do we have to have trainings? But these trainings are like no other. Trainings that are so exciting and very valuable, things that they teach college students, things that they teach adults at their professional development, things that I'm not sure why we don't learn just being in the regular society, time management skills, and why to make a SMART goal. Why don't we do that in the real world? Well, I guess have to find out by going into the real world. But those leadership trainings are so very helpful, starting with introduction to leadership skills for crews and going all the way up to from goal setting and time management and mentor training. So now you're teaching others how to lead, and it's just an experience that you wouldn't find anywhere else. You don't really find anywhere else. In addition, there's different programs like National Youth Leadership Training that venturers are able to enjoy. This is a week-long course that builds on some of those leadership skills, and you're put into a patrol. That's a lot of fun. Powderhorn, which is a weekend-long course that talks about high adventure and how to plan a high adventure trip, both for youth and adults. I enjoyed both of my powderhorns that I've had the pleasure of attending that were definitely different. So if you ever see a Kodiak course, and not Kodiak, but a powderhorn course already been, just go to it again. You learn so much. Kodiak. I got to experience recently. It's like training without chairs, so it's a 5-day course that you get to plan all of your experience and go through the stages of team development with your crew. In summary, that was a lot of information. I know it's like a fire hose, but there's a lot of training opportunities to help build leadership skills.
Yeah, I know I've developed a lot of leadership skills through our hands on stuff, especially like planning and leading activities and whatnot. It's all about learning by doing. A big part of that learning by doing has been, our talking to professionals and running events, planning events, and really getting to be able to connect with other people and network, as well as really share with other people what we're passionate about, as well as try to solve problems as we encounter them. So, what advice would you have for someone who is looking into trying to get into leadership?
Great question. First and foremost, don't be afraid to step up. It takes one step to complete a marathon. You have to start with that first step. Venturing promotes a safe and supportive environment for you to try new things and grow as a leader. Take on roles with your crew, ask questions, and learn from those experiences. Make mistakes. I made a mistake just earlier, and my advisor was like, well, you learn from it. Let's move on.
Yeah, wonderful. And it's super important to remember that leadership is all about working with your team and not about being a solo leader.
Absolutely. Mentoring promotes a collaborative leadership relationship. It's all about working with your crewmates, sharing responsibilities, and collectively achieving your goals together as a team. That's where the magic happens.
Yeah, it's also magic how the time flies by, especially in scouting when we're having so much fun.
I
So let's
know.
move on to the third part quick, which is personal growth. So venturing is really all about discovering your self growth and your self discovery, and your leadership skills are going to help guide you on that journey. So Hannah, can you share a little bit about your personal growth that you've had during your time in the venturing program?
Sure. So, one of my development of self goals was to become a lifeguard. That summer day camp that was talked about, they needed lifeguards, and they asked me. A little bit of background. I said I would never be a BSA lifeguard because I had no interest in doing that. But it's amazing when somebody asks you for a need. Think what things to get that words, what you can do. But I looked at the requirements and was like, oh no, I can't physically do that. Jumped in a pool one day and can't can't complete 4 laps in the pool. This is going to be a problem. So one of my development goals was to get it where I could swim the required amount for lifeguard and be an effective lifeguard. Venturing had everything set up where I could make that goal and achieve it. It took about 4 months, and I'm very glad for that experience. Oh, look at that! Just as we predicted, and you said that was funny earlier, time is running away again. I think the last thing that we need to talk about is service. Service is a big one. Do you have anything to share with us?
Yeah, of course. So, giving back to the community is at the root of what we do in all of our scouting programs, not just venturing, but it's a really big part of what we do in venturing too. So, one of my favorite opportunities in venturing has been to give back to our communities, whether it be doing service personally, whether it be doing service with my crew or with my council or our VOA, or volunteering to help lead other activities in any sort of a capacity. But one of my specific favorites has been really getting to meet other people through service. My council, our VOA, when I was on it, hosted a roadside cleanup. We started an
Ooh.
initiative on a local kind of secluded road, and we cleaned up this section of road twice a year, and it's still going strong. I think 3 years later now, and it was has always been so great to see the new faces that show up, the people who are willing to help, and all the people who are just so willing to give back to the community, and just how easy it is to make a difference to the community and the environment, and how rewarding that can be.
Wow. You can't say it any better. That sounds like you've started a legacy, or a legacy was started with your crew. And I really love how those things can happen. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for your entire insight this entire show. Thank you for our listeners who tuned into this episode of the Venturing BSA podcast, Leading Our Adventures. Until next time, stay adventurous and keep leading the way. We'll catch you on our next adventure. Next week, we'll be talking about high adventure activities, kind of jumping right in. Until next time, stay adventurous and keep leading the way.
Have a good one for now, everyone.
Bye.